Now there's a lot more talking about perimenopause. What is perimenopause and why is it a recent entrant into our lives?
It's a recent entrance because now women are now in the workforce. And in the old days, everyone went. It's a change of life. It's a natural change of life where the estrogen, the ovaries are not producing enough of estrogen.
So it's not main menopause, it's before main.
Yeah. So the waning period goes over. So perimenopause is this period of time leading up to menopause, 3 to 4 years, and then the menopause. What is menopause? Menopause is always a retrospective diagnosis. That is, the periods have stopped for more than 1 year. Now you're in menopause. So
Okay.
all that 4 to 5 years leading up to that period is called the perimenopause. Now, perimenopause, it is because the estrogens from the ovaries are gradually waning. And we have estrogen receptors from the head to the toes. A woman is a woman because of estrogen. The skin, the breasts, the tissues, the bones, the vaginal health, intercourse, everything is, even the heart health is all related to the estrogen hormone and the estrogen receptors everywhere. What happens? A woman will never get a heart attack as long as she's getting her periods because she's protected by the estrogens. But a woman after menopause has the same risk as a man of getting a heart attack. And that's because of estrogen. So this perimenopause is a waning period is a period leading up to menopause where there's going to be a change of life, but it's fortunately gradual. And because the estrogen receptors are slowly, there's less and less estrogen, you have all the symptoms. Now, the symptoms in the past, the mothers were so busy, they had so many children, they never bothered.
They didn't even notice.
They didn't even notice. Most women, even till today, don't notice. Women who are very active and are busy at work, they don't notice. Menopause comes and menopause goes. But there are many women who do have hormonal changes. Hot flushes, irritability, bloating, weight gain of 5 kilos is there for every menopausal woman. Then irritability, then loss of memory. You know, a girl who would pride herself on knowing everyone and everybody's name, suddenly you go to a party and you see a face and then you want to introduce your husband and you forget the name.
And this is menopause.
And this is menopause. This is perimenopause. I used to remember every patient, their children, which room she was when she delivered and everything. I'd forget which class my son was in, but I would remember which room that girl was even many years. But now even I'm forgetting a little bit. So that sense of loss, and then a sense of, loss of charge of your life. I have singers who can't sing. I have actors who can't act. I have doctors who can't operate because of that fearfulness. That a person who was so brave is suddenly felled at her prime of life because of perimenopause. So therefore, this menopausal change is definitely there. And it's more, I think, in working girls, and more people are more aware. So often, the husbands take them, they're so insensitive, take them to a psychiatrist. She's not sleeping, insomnia is another thing. Not sleeping, she's irritable, this, that. And then the psychiatrists will send them to us. Or they go to the cardiologist and say this is a problem. And the cardiologist will send them to the gynecologist that these are all menopausal symptoms.
And how do you recommend dealing with menopause? Hormone replacement therapy or just it's part of life, go through it?
It's part of life, so you have to accept it. There are definitely vaginal creams, because another thing is libido. Loss of libido is one thing. And that is the time of life when the husband is having his last thing. Like, it's difficult for him to have intercourse, but he wants intercourse all the time. They say men get 40, naughty at 40, I would say at 50. And, it's so sad, Faye, because I have so many women who come at 40 and they want vaginal tightening done because their husbands will then threaten to, go somewhere else. So their vagina has become loose because they've had so many children, giving so many children to their husbands. But as I said, vaginal tightening is something that we do very often.
Okay, you do that.
Yes, so many women do come. So many women come for hymenoplasty now. they've had intercourse still, especially in certain communities, because the girl has to produce a blood-stained garment. Things have changed, not changed so much, but they've changed to a certain extent, but not so much anyway. Certain communities. So I was coming back to menopause, how to deal with it. So just dealing with it is understanding that you're going through menopause, making certain lifestyle changes, giving more me time, reducing a complete change in your lifestyle, in the sense diet, nutrition, exercise has to be. Weight-bearing exercises are very important, because this is the time you have the muscles become weak. So if you do weight-bearing exercises, not only will you tone the muscles, but the muscles are attached to the bone, so the bones become strong. Another thing with menopause is not perimenopause, but menopause, is that you lose 30% of your skeleton in the first 5 years after menopause. That's how a woman from being straight becomes shorter, and then finally on a wheelchair. And that is because of untreated menopause. So we do give calcium, vitamin D supplements, etc. to prevent this. Because what happens, estrogen controls absorption of calcium, deposition of calcium in the bone, and prevention of resorption, because the bone is a living structure. But when the estrogen becomes less, there's less absorption of calcium, there's less deposition, and there's more resorption. So the bones become brittle. It comes like a thief in the night. Or first there's osteopenia, then there's osteoporosis, then even a rickshaw travel and your spine gets fractured. You fall, you get a Colles fracture. And fracture hip of the female is #1 killer of women after the age of, used to be 70, but I'll say it now. That's where your fat protects you a bit, because you still have the estrogen in the fat. Leaner women have more osteoporosis than do fatter women.
Some advantage of being chubby.
Some advantages of being chubby.